Albany, New York. RJ, welcome to the Savage Nation. Topic, please.
Dr. Savage, thank you for taking my call. I'll ask my question, hang up, and listen to your answer. The question I have is, why are so many conservatives opposed to the concept of world government?
That is a very fair question. I would hope you'd stay on the line because I think I have an answer for you.
And I will stay on the line.
All right. Let's start with two simple things. The Bill of Rights and the U.S. Constitution. Does that work for you?
Please elaborate.
Well, I mean, isn't that enough of an answer? I can certainly elaborate in a whole book, but a world government would not give us the rights that we have here in the United States of America. We in the United States of America enjoy freedoms that they don't enjoy in the European Union. You know that.
Correct. Is there not a way that the freedoms granted to us through our Constitution would not be adapted globally?
Why would they be adapted globally when you have such monsters trying to create a world government, people who don't even believe in personal freedoms? I mean, I'm going to read for you the names of some of the people meeting at the Bilderberg group right now. Some of them are probably respectable in the sense that you probably would not fear them. Let's start with one of them. Let's start with Henry Kissinger. Do you think that he has the best interests of humanity at heart?
Henry Kissinger is perhaps one of the greatest proponents of a free humanity.
Are you kidding me? The man has capitalized on trade with China. He is probably single-handedly responsible for the demise of our manufacturing industry. He's responsible for NAFTA. He's responsible for CAFTA. He's responsible for shipping millions of jobs out of America. How can you say that?
Well, Henry Kissinger has also been a big part of working with David Rockefeller. I know that.
Yes, and David Rockefeller is a man you would trust to be a New World Order leader of the world, and you would think that the Rockefeller family has ever cared about the interests of the individual?
Isn't the Rockefeller family one of the greatest American families of all time as far as industrialists go?
No, not at all. Some would argue that they're the opposite of that. Some would argue that the Rockefellers were not very good for the average worker, like the thousands of workers who were shot when they rioted against Rockefeller companies way back in the beginning. So let's put it aside. I'm going to read a few other names. Here's some other people meeting at the Bilderberg group. Robert Rubin. Do you know who he is?
I've heard the name.
Co-chairman, Council on Foreign Relations, former Secretary of the Treasury, and former president of Citibank. He's one of the engineers of the financial meltdown of America. Why would you trust him to put the interests of the people ahead of his own greed?
Back up a second. It's the Council of Foreign Relations. That was an organization established in the 50s.
But you didn't hear me when I just said Robert Rubin. You're jumping to the CFR. I just said Robert Rubin had been the head of Citibank when it melted down. Doesn't that concern you?
Oh, very much so.
Well, I'm sure you and I, even though you're a liberal and you're in the faith, doesn't mean that we have to disagree on everything. Now, why would the Bilderbergs invite a guy like Charlie Rose to the Bilderberg meeting? Why would he be selected?
I can't answer that.
Because they select people who are their puppets or who will act out exactly what they want acted out on the American stage of the media and the government. Let's take another one. Robert Zoellick, president of the World Bank Group. Do you know who he is?
Scumbag.
Well, I didn't say that. I don't use those words. And I have a certain respect for prophylactics.
Hey, do you know Dr. Savage?
At least I can get a laugh out of you.
You know why the condom flew across?
I think he just called to pull my leg. William Gates, co-chair of the Microsoft Corporation. Nothing wrong with him being there. But then you read that the president and CEO of Google is there. What the hell is the president of Google doing at the Bilderbergs? Because they're part of the New World Order. Because Google is very much a part of the invasion of privacy, the demise of individual liberty, and the taking over of the entire world. Period. Do you think people get that far in life by accident? I know some people who've gotten pretty far in life and made a lot of money on their brains, on their inventions, on their creativity. Yes, it is true, without the help of the puppeteers. I know that for a fact. But I do know that beyond a certain level of political power, it is impossible to get anywhere unless you are anointed and selected in secret meetings such as this, whether it be the Skull and Bones at Yale or the Bilderberg Group or the other groups that, the others were created by the Rockefellers. And, I realize this is information that is beyond the average person, and it's part of the right-wing conspiracy talk. Nevertheless, a lot of it's true. That's all. Don't get me started about those anointed in the conservative media either, because many of them got where they are because they are exactly what the conservatives, what the New World Order wants. Or let's put the establishment. Let's call it the establishment to make it less threatening. The reason some people have risen so high as so-called conservative commentators is because the established order wants their opinions put out there. They're mild by comparison to the reality of what we're living through. Okay? Another member of the Bilderberg group today meeting is Peter D. Sutherland, chairman of Goldman Sachs International. That doesn't bother you? One of the engineers of the economic collapse of the United States of America? Do you think that there are people in the media at very high levels who got there strictly on the basis of their abilities? I could tell you that I don't believe so. I can tell you right now I don't believe so. The only person I know who got there by his abilities is me. I have absolutely no contacts in the government. I am never invited to a meeting in the government. I've never had. Let me give you an example. You remember when Bush was president? Remember he invited radio talk show hosts to the White House? Was I invited? No. I have the third largest radio talk show in America then, and I still have it right now. And remember, I start late in the day. I'm on smaller stations in many markets. I'm run by a great independent syndicator who is not connected to the mainstream media. I wasn't invited, but there were people below me who were invited along with Hannity and, with Rush and Wallbanger. So why? Why would Bush invite the golfer and the Wallbanger? Because they basically were bootlickers. They carried his water. I wasn't invited because I criticized the president at that time. I said, watch out, the signs are bad. He's building up too much debt. Wait a minute, look at this. Don't you remember how many people can raise their hands in this audience? You know, now this is like a live show. If I had 10,000 people and I said this with a booming microphone, how many of you remember me saying to you 2 years into Bush's administration, look out, he's bankrupting the country? I'd get 98% of the people would raise their hands. And how many of you remember that a year before Bush was finished, I said, look what he's doing. Look at the bills he's passed. No Child Left Behind, prescription drugs for the elderly. I said, this is no different than Hillary care, about 50% of Hillary care, right? You'd raise your hands again. Then, in September of the last year of his reign, it was September of 08, I believe, pretty sure that, yeah, I saw some strange and dangerous things going on. And I said, he's not through yet. He's finale in the last 3 months of his administration. And lo and behold, he engineered the economic meltdown, the financial collapse with Wall Street, in order to usher in who? Barack Hussein Obama. They wanted Obama to win. The Republicans wanted Obama to win. I've said that to you. Why do I say it to you over and over again? Well, I'm not going to give too much of it away, because it's all in my new book, which is at the publisher right now. It's coming out in October. It'll be the biggest book of the time, I can guarantee you. It's going to be a very important book. And I'm not here to sell you a book, but I'm here to tell you that the reason the Republicans wanted to lose, and the reason they selected a loser like McCain who would guarantee lose, and even he almost won until he shot himself in the toe every time he opened his mouth. He could have won because Obama was so unappealing as a candidate to most of America. Obama was so frightening to most Americans once they understood his odd background, his left-wing leanings, his associations with known terrorists, the Reverend Wright. Any one of those stories would have brought Obama down if only McCain had wanted to exploit it. But McCain's handlers didn't want him to exploit it. They told him to play it down, not up. Why? Because the Republicans had raped the Treasury for 8 straight years, and they knew that they didn't want the hot seat in the next election. They knew a Democrat had to win. Now, whether it was Obama or Hillary, I'm not so sure whether they cared, but they knew it was time to throw the ball to the other gang of crooks. They wouldn't have cared if it was Hillary. They probably would have preferred it because she would have been a more reliable partner in the scheme, right? But, okay, whatever. Now, all you hear is, oh, bring back the Republicans. And I guarantee you we'll get rid of those tax and spend liberals when we come back. Hey, we're going to lower the government. We're going to take the bloat out of the government. We're going to lower your taxes. Step right up. This way to the egress. I don't get a Republican. Here's a Republican. Good old Republican. Come on, Republican. Come on, put down the flag. Put down the conservative flag. Come on, here's a Republican. Here's a Republican. There's a Republican. Blah, blah, blah. Then, to top it all off, McCain has one thing going for him: experience. right? So how does he destroy his one calling card? He picks an inexperienced, unknown governor of Alaska who makes one gaffe after another. Sarah Palin. And everyone gasps, what?